Hey there YouTube, my name is IcyyMike and I'm excited to recap all of the strategy and simulation games that we saw during this year's E3 Expo. But before we get started, I want to ask you to hit the subscribe button as well as the notification bell so you can be notified whenever I upload next, because we're going to continue doing videos like this as well as gameplay videos for the titles we are talking about in this video. So let's go ahead and step right into it. Now, I'm not going to lie to you. For no good reason, I was super confident we were going to see an Age of Empires 4 release date announced this year at E3 from Microsoft. Unfortunately, that was not the case. But instead, our appetites will be curbed a little bit with the announcement of Age of Empires 2 Definitive Edition. Age of Empires is the founding father of real-time strategy games. I think everybody in the world, maybe not everybody in the world, but any hardcore gamer over the age of 12 has probably at least tried Age of Empires in some form or fashion. Now, it is in my opinion that Age of Empires 2 were the pinnacle of this series. So seeing Age of Empires 2 coming out remastered in a definitive edition is very awesome and exciting. And I've got good news for everybody. It's going to be released on Steam and is not going to be exclusive anywhere. And as you can see here, the remastered definitive edition of Age of Empires 2 is a huge step to make the series more appealing to the modern era of gamers. So I'm very excited to relive my nostalgia by playing Age of Empires 2. Now, I know the lack of Age of Empires 4 information from E3 is a huge disappointment. So I want to help you recover from that disappointment by letting you know that The Sims 5 was officially not even talked about this year in E3. Holy crap. What is going on? That's right. We didn't hear or see anything regarding The Sims 5. So we have no idea if it's in development or if it's ever going to happen. But the good news is we did get more DLC for The Sims 4. Of course, but I'm not going to lie. Of all the DLCs for Sims 4, this one is probably the coolest. For the first time in the Sims series, you're going to be able to live and breathe the island life, including entering the water and interacting with the animals and wildlife. Not only that, but this DLC is focused on conservation, which I'm a big advocate of. But in this DLC, we saw things like interacting with dolphins, snorkeling, riding jet skis, a freaking volcano, awesome jobs like being a lifeguard, a conservationist, and a lot more. So if there's a DLC that I've ever been excited about The Sims, it's this one. And as for a release date, this is where it gets really good. It is going to be released on June 20th, 2019. So Sims fans should really be excited about this DLC because I'm not a huge Sims player and even I'm excited about it. So for the hardcore simulation players, we got a surprise announcement during the Microsoft conference for Microsoft Flight Simulator. And this thing looks freaking beautiful. This looks like a huge upgrade from the previous title, Microsoft Flight Simulator 10, and is scheduled to be released sometime in 2020. We don't know which quarter, so we may have a while to wait for this. But I'm going to say for any flight simulator fan out there, this is probably going to be the pinnacle for a while. This thing looks absolutely gorgeous. In this trailer, we saw several visually stunning planes, such as single engine prop planes, as well as big commercial planes, and everything in between. But more importantly were the locations we saw. This looks absolutely amazing. And what's even more exciting is this is not only going to be available for obviously PC players, but console players are also going to be able to get their hands on this one as well. Not much more information is currently available for Microsoft Flight Simulator, but this is definitely one to keep your eye out on, and hopefully the 2020 release date stays true and we will see it sometime next year. During the PC gaming press conference during E3, we were introduced to a new title called Peraspera. It is currently in development by Tion Industries and will be published by Raw Fury. Not an exact date was given, but the release date is currently listed as 2020, so be on the lookout for it. In Peraspera, it is a narrative-driven strategy game with the goal of overcoming the challenge of terraforming Mars. And that's right, we have another strategy/base building game about terraforming and colonizing Mars. Pretty exciting, and according to the Steam page, you're going to be able to build huge structures across the entire world map. It kind of reminds me of the style of RimWorld. Also, you're going to be able to unravel the twists and turns of mankind's first missions to Mars in a riveting single-player narrative. There's also going to be a sandbox mode where you can develop your base and test your theories at your own pace. In this game, you will research new technologies and special projects based on real-to-life science and explore the real Martian landscapes portrayed in a unique graphical style. And that's about all we know about Peraspera. I'm actually pretty excited for it. It's an indie game, but it looks pretty interesting, and I think anybody who likes the space simulation and base base building genre, we'll definitely need to keep an eye out on this one. Sticking with the space simulation and building genre, next up is Starmancer. This game is currently being developed by Omnix Games, which to my knowledge has no prior history of developing games, but it is being published by Chucklefish, the same publisher of Starbound, and we are getting a very similar art style in Starmancer as Starbound. As for a release date, there is not one, so we're just gonna have to wait for more information. So what exactly is Starmancer? It looks to be a spaceport or space station building game with secret laboratories and human farms. Apparently you can grow people, so that's pretty interesting. Starmancer has a lot of mechanics similar to RimWorld. It looks like you're going to be able to assign specific jobs or roles. Every colonist is going to be unique with their own personality, including memories and rumors. They can develop personal relationships. The world will be procedural. There's diplomacy, and you can explore and unlock new technologies. I'm actually very excited about this game. I'm not a huge fan of art styles like this, but I was able to get past it in RimWorld because the gameplay mechanics were awesome. So assuming the same for this game, this one may be a top seller on Steam if done right. For any review or analysis on my channel, I try to remain as unbiased as possible, but I will say for this next one, I am going to be completely biased. So keep that in mind, but I now want to talk about a game that means a lot to me, and it is called Evil Genius 2 World Domination. It is the sequel to the world-renowned Evil Genius, and if you're not familiar with the game, you play as a mastermind or an evil genius, where you start out on an island with your minions and very limited resources. From there, you carve out your top secret lair into the mountainside. You take care of your minions, recruit more minions, discover technologies, and of course fill it with traps to keep the secret agents from around the world from infiltrating your base. Eventually, you work your way towards stealing artifacts from around the world, and lastly, creating the ultimate doomsday device to take over the world. At least that's the way Evil Genius played out. It is yet to be determined how Evil Genius 2 will play out exactly, but I would imagine it's going to be around the same. But Evil Genius is a fun take on the base building genre, and who doesn't like being a mastermind trying to take over the world? No official release date was given besides the year 2020, but is being published by Rebellion, so this is another one that I think you guys should keep an eye out for. For those hardcore RTS fans out there, you're probably familiar with the game Stronghold Crusaders. It's a staple in the RTS genre. Now we've seen it remastered into HD, but there's still been this craving for a follow-up, and Firefly Studios is finally delivering that follow-up, and that is with Stronghold Warlords. And it looks as if Stronghold Warlords will be going Imperial, which is actually pretty exciting and fresh. Stronghold is a castle sim RTS where you build up a castle, an economy, recruit troops, and fight head-to-head versus your opponents, whether AI or real. Announced in this new Stronghold game is a new system called the Warlord system, and basically it seems like there are warlords across the map which you can gain control of, each with their different attributes and abilities, and these can help change the tide of the war. I'm always a big fan of balanced RTS gameplay that's fast, and it also seems like they took a step back and really focusing on the castle simulation mechanic of it as well as an economy, so it's kind of a hybrid of Age of Empires and the old Stronghold game. But what's going to be interesting to me is how this economy and warlord system play into the game's fast-paced style, and balancing in games like this is super critical to its success, and this is something we will only know once it's released, which we do not have a date for besides the year 2020. Paradox Interactive also showcased two of their games at E3, and the first one we're talking about has already been announced and revealed, but we got to see a little bit more about it, which is Age of Wonders Planetfall, and it is set to be released really soon, which is August 6, 2019. Age of Wonders Planetfall is a sci-fi strategy game with tactical turn-based combat and in-depth empire building. And I'm going to be honest, I've looked at this game several times even before E3. I'm not seeing anything new and fresh within this game. Everything that I've seen so far is something that you can find in another game. You progress through their missions using wits, military strength, and diplomacy, as well as exploring planetary ruins and encountering other survivors as you unravel the history of a shattered civilization. You then fight, build, negotiate, and technologically advance your way to Utopia through the campaign on on random skirmish maps or against friends in multiplayer. Again, nothing new here in this description, and I'm also afraid that Paradox is going to do what they normally do, where they give us a very weak base game that is only improved through DLC. But I don't want to make assumptions without knowing, so we're just gonna have to wait and just take a look at it when the game is released. Although I'm not super excited about Paradox's Age of Wonder, I am very interested in their next title that was revealed at E3, which is called Empire of Sin, which is a strategy game that puts you into the criminal underworld of the 1920 Prohibition era in Chicago. And from the trailer and the description, it looks like you get to build a criminal empire from the ground up, and then you're going to also be able to defend and expand that territory. Based on the Steam description, it's a living, breathing world where you can explore the streets of a vibrant 1920s Chicago and interact with a full cast of living, breathing characters, each with lives of their own, where you will be able to schmooze, coerce, seduce, threaten, or kill them to get your way. You also get to wield your influence by making and breaking alliances, bribing cops, trading on the black market, and expand your family. And apparently there's multiple ways to victory, which is typical of any Paradox strategy game. So this is interesting. I don't think I've ever seen a strategy game take place in the 1920 era, so I can't wait to see more about the game mechanics and to get a better understanding of how this all blends together. And finally, probably the most hyped strategy or simulation game that was talked about at E3. It wasn't an official reveal, but we got to see some awesome gameplay footage of Planet Zoo. Now, Planet Zoo was announced earlier this year and is Frontier Development's take on the Zoo Tycoon, where you get to build and create your zoo. But what we learned from E3 is that they are really focusing on making the animals as lifelike as possible, and you can really see the attention to detail regarding this aspect in the trailer. We also got an official release date of November 5th, 2019, so only a few months away for this awesome looking game. It looks like Planet Zoo is taking the Zoo Tycoon level up 30 notches. From this trailer, we can see how customizable our animal pens will be and the entire park itself. It looks like from landscaping to the parts you use within the animal's pen will all allow you to create a one-of-a-kind zoo. Now, we have yet to see much on the actual simulation and financial part of this game, but we can only assume it's going to be pretty similar to the same system that is in Planet Coaster, but probably more streamlined and upgraded. And this right here, ladies and gentlemen, is going to be the best strategy slash simulation slash tycoon game released in 2019 and most likely 2020. Do you agree with my prediction? Let me know in the comment section below. Also, if you found this video informative or helpful, go ahead, subscribe and hit the like button. Also, tap the notification bell so you will be notified as I will cover these games plus many more all through 2019 and 2020.